The screen opens with the eerie silence of space, interrupted only by the hum of a massive fleet. The Kravok, a terrifying alien species, have gathered in orbit above a small human colony on the edge of the galaxy. Their sleek, menacing warships are equipped with advanced cloaking devices, making them nearly invisible to human sensors. The Kravok are preparing for the final blow, a devastating orbital bombardment that will wipe out the colony and send a message to the rest of humanity. Inside the command center of the human fleet, the tension is thick. The room is dimly lit by blinking consoles, each filled with data showing the Kravok fleet's positions. Commander Jonas Bellamy, a battle-hardened leader, stands at the front, his eyes scanning the data on the screens. His face is stone cold, but the worry in the eyes of his officers is evident. Bellamy knows what's coming. He knows that this fight is different from anything they've faced before. "We've done everything we can," one officer whispers nervously. "It's over, sir. The Kravok will destroy us in minutes." Bellamy doesn't respond right away. Instead, he turns toward the view of the stars on the massive screen, as if staring into the unknown. His thoughts are interrupted by the blaring of alarms. The Kravok fleet has begun to move into position. The countdown to their attack begins. But then, something unexpected happens. Without warning, the Kravok cloaking devices flicker, their shimmering invisibility field failing for a brief second. The human officers gasp. On the main screen, the Kravok ships become visible for the first time, their deadly weapons locked onto the colony. The countdown continues. But suddenly, the enemy fleet begins to disintegrate, their ships flickering in and out of existence. The Kravok's advanced weapons systems begin to malfunction. Their targeting lasers go wild, hitting their own ships instead of the humans. The once perfectly coordinated fleet is now in total chaos. The Kravok commanders are screaming, trying to regain control, but their systems are failing faster than they can fix them. The control room erupts in confusion. Officers shout orders, trying to make sense of the chaos. Bellamy, however, remains calm. He's seen worse. He steps forward, his voice cutting through the noise. "Focus. This is our chance," he commands. He turns to one of the tech officers. "Target their command ship and fire everything we've got." The human fleet takes advantage of the Kravok's momentary weakness, launching an all-out assault. However, as the humans fire, something strange happens. The Kravok's superweapon, a massive planet-killing device, activates. The countdown to destruction continues, and the device begins charging. As the Kravok scramble to fix their broken systems, their voices crackle over the comms, desperate and panicked. "We cannot lose control. The weapon is almost ready," a Kravok commander cries out. But Commander Bellamy isn't worried. He's seen this kind of chaos before, and he knows what it means. He steps closer to the communications console and speaks directly to the Kravok leaders. "You're afraid," Bellamy says, his voice calm but full of cold confidence. "Afraid because you know what we are capable of. We don't need to match your technology. We don't need to be as advanced as you. We just need to survive long enough to find a way to turn it against you." Bellamy pauses, letting the tension build. The Kravok commanders fall silent. They're trying to process his words, but all they can focus on is the malfunctioning systems, their deteriorating fleet, and their deadly weapon inching closer to activation. For a moment, there's a strange calm in the control room, a sense that this may be humanity's chance to finally defeat the Kravok. But that feeling is short-lived. Just as the Kravok superweapon charges to full power, Bellamy's eyes flash with a knowing smile. He doesn't look worried anymore. Instead, he looks determined, like someone who knows they've already won. With a swift command, a small, seemingly insignificant device is activated in the human fleet's command ship. The Kravok's superweapon, the planet-killing device, begins to malfunction. Their last hope, their most advanced weapon, begins to destabilize. The countdown halts, and a series of warning signals flood the Kravok's control screens. They did it," one Kravok officer yells in disbelief. "How did they disable the weapon?" Bellamy's voice rings out through the communications channel again, low but clear. "It's not about your tech. It's about what we've learned. What we've become. The Kravok, shaken and confused, realize what Bellamy means. Humanity's greatest weapon isn't their advanced tech, their weapons, or even their strategy. It's their unpredictability and adaptability, qualities that have helped them survive against all odds throughout history. The Kravok have never faced an enemy like this. With the Kravok's weapon neutralized, their fleet is left in disarray. The humans press their advantage, fighting with all the fury and ingenuity they have. For the first time, the Kravok realize that humanity is not just a survivor, they are a force to be reckoned with. The story begins with humanity on the edge of defeat. Earth and its colonies are engaged in a brutal war against the Kravok, an alien race known for their terrifying technology and ruthless AI-controlled armies. The Kravok's fleet, vast and seemingly unstoppable, has been sweeping across the galaxy, crushing all resistance in its path. Humans are seen as weak and primitive by the various alien civilizations, who regard Earth as a backwater planet, unworthy of attention. Despite their advanced technology, the Kravok see humanity as nothing more than an easy target. The human resistance is scattered, disorganized, and outmatched at every turn. The Kravok believe the war will be over soon. Humanity's defeat is inevitable. Earth's last defenders are pushed into hiding, with little hope of turning the tide. The first major battle takes place in the cold, empty void of space. The Kravok's warships arrive in force, and humanity's fleet is caught off guard. The Kravok's superior firepower is devastating. Their plasma cannons rip through human ships with ease, and their AI-controlled drones swarm like a hive of metal wasps. The human soldiers, though brave, can do little against the overwhelming might of the Kravok. Amidst the chaos, Sergeant Bonner, one of the most respected soldiers, makes a stand. He and his team are stationed at a critical space station that holds the line between the Kravok and Earth's remaining colonies. With the station's defenses failing, Bonner makes the ultimate sacrifice. He leads a group of soldiers in a last-ditch effort to protect the station's core, buying precious time for the fleet to retreat. In a final heroic act, Bonner is killed, his death marking a significant loss for humanity. Bonner's sacrifice doesn't go unnoticed. His death becomes a turning point. The soldiers who survive the battle, including Commander Jonas Bellamy, are deeply affected by the loss. But instead of despair, they feel something else, a burning resolve. Bonner's heroism stirs something in their hearts. Humanity won't go down without a fight. The human resistance begins to rise, fueled by the memory of Bonner's courage. As humanity recovers from the defeat, they realize they cannot win this war by fighting the Kravok on their terms. The Kravok's technology is too advanced, their AI too precise. But humans have something the Kravok do not: resourcefulness. The survivors begin to shift their tactics. Instead of head-on battles, humans start using unconventional warfare strategies. Hacking becomes their weapon of choice. They infiltrate Kravok communications, disrupting their systems with AI virus codes that scramble the enemy's drones. Sabotage becomes a key tactic as humans target the Kravok's supply lines, setting traps and causing chaos in their ranks. The human resistance also becomes more guerrilla-like, using hit-and-run tactics, striking when the Kravok least expect it. They exploit the weaknesses in the Kravok's tech, like using EMP pulses to disable their cloaking devices, and creating new weapons to hack and disable Kravok AI systems. These tactics begin to cause damage, creating cracks in the Kravok's once invincible fleet. Though the war is far from won, the humans now have a fighting chance. The underdog story begins to unfold as humans, outmatched and outgunned, use their creativity and determination to make the Kravok question their superiority. Every small victory brings a spark of hope that one day, humanity might just turn the tide of this brutal war. As the war drags on, Commander Bellamy begins to piece together a startling truth about the Kravok strategy. Through captured Kravok intel, he uncovers a shocking revelation: the Kravok didn't just come to conquer Earth, they had been studying humanity for centuries. Earth had been a hidden experiment, orchestrated by ancient alien species who had seeded humanity with a special gene. This gene, though dormant for most of human history, unlocked a unique adaptability in moments of extreme stress and danger. In other words, humans had a rare ability to think and adapt faster than any other species, especially when faced with survival situations. The Kravok, in their arrogance, believed they had the upper hand because of their superior technology, not realizing that humanity's true strength lay in their ability to evolve and adapt to any threat. Bellamy's discovery becomes a turning point. He realizes that humanity's power is not just in their will to survive, but in this genetic gift that makes them unpredictable and dangerous in ways the Kravok can't understand. With this knowledge, Bellamy knows they must tap into this potential if they have any hope of winning. As Bellamy shares his findings with the human resistance, flashbacks show the early days of the war, when humanity was still reeling from the initial onslaught of the Kravok. The first few battles were hopeless, and the Kravok's advanced AI-controlled armies seemed invincible. But even in the face of overwhelming odds, humans began to find ways to outsmart the Kravok. In one flashback, we see a small group of human soldiers hiding in an abandoned space station, using the station's ancient tech to disrupt Kravok communications. They set a trap, luring Kravok drones into a narrow corridor where they destroy them with makeshift explosives. It's a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. This and other small successes begin to spread throughout the galaxy, as humans use their ingenuity and cunning to slowly weaken the Kravok. The Kravok, for the first time, are thrown off balance. They can't predict humanity's next move. With each battle, humanity's tactics grow bolder and more creative, slowly turning the tide in their favor. The Kravok, who once thought of humanity as insignificant, are now starting to take notice. The resistance grows, and whispers of human victories spread like wildfire through the galaxy. As the humans gain more ground, the Kravok grow increasingly frustrated. Their AI systems can calculate every move, predict every strategy, but they cannot understand the unpredictable nature of humanity. Commander Bellamy's tactics confuse the Kravok, and every time they think they have the upper hand, humanity surprises them. In a desperate move to crush Earth once and for all, the Kravok activate their planetary superweapon. This massive weapon has the power to annihilate entire planets, and the Kravok believe it will wipe out the last of the human resistance. With the weapon charged and ready to fire, Earth is on the brink of destruction. But Bellamy, knowing humanity's strength, refuses to give in. His team works around the clock, using the same adaptability they've learned to their advantage. They deploy a countermeasure, a sophisticated virus designed to infiltrate and disable the superweapon's control systems. As the Kravok launch the weapon, it begins to malfunction. The targeting systems fail, the weapon misfires, and instead of destroying Earth, it takes out a key Kravok fleet that was supporting the superweapon. The Kravok are stunned. Their final weapon has failed. For the first time, they realize that humanity's ingenuity and ability to adapt could be their greatest weapon. The Kravok have had enough. After years of battling, the alien race decides to end the war once and for all. They launch their final assault on Earth with everything they have, sending a massive fleet to obliterate the last of humanity's defenses. This time, they come prepared with their planet-destroying superweapon, a device capable of wiping out entire continents in seconds. With the weapon primed and the fleet surrounding Earth, the Kravok are confident that the human resistance will be crushed. But Commander Bellamy isn't ready to surrender. He knows humanity is outnumbered and outgunned, but he also knows that they've survived this long because of their resourcefulness and ability to adapt in the face of overwhelming odds. Bellamy devises a desperate gambit, a trap that will force the Kravok to underestimate humanity one last time. He sets the stage for a final battle, where the Kravok will think they have cornered the humans, but in reality, the humans will have the upper hand. The humans feign weakness, making it seem as though their forces are completely depleted. They allow themselves to be pushed back into a small, seemingly insignificant corner of Earth. The Kravok, believing they've won, move in to deliver the final blow, only to walk straight into Bellamy's trap. What the Kravok don't realize is that the humans have planted advanced explosive devices, hacked the Kravok's communications, and positioned hidden forces that will strike at the heart of the Kravok fleet when the time is right. As the final battle begins, there's a palpable sense of loss and hope on the battlefield. The human soldiers know that this may be their last stand, but they fight with a deep sense of purpose. For many, it's not just about survival, it's about honoring the legacy of those who've fallen, especially their comrade Bonner, who gave his life to protect the colony. His sacrifice was the turning point that ignited humanity's resistance, and now, every soldier is fighting not just for their own lives, but for his memory. In one scene, Bonner's closest friend, Sergeant Lucas, stands by a ruined outpost, holding Bonner's dog tags tightly in his hand. His face is grim but resolute. "This one's for you, brother," he mutters. The camera shows the faces of other soldiers, each one carrying the weight of their fallen comrades in their hearts. It's an emotional moment, as the soldiers realize that the war, for all its suffering, is their chance to give meaning to the sacrifices made by those like Bonner. As they engage in the fierce battle, soldiers move through destroyed cities, across bombed-out landscapes, and into the heart of Kravok-controlled territory, fueled by the memories of their fallen friends. The fight is brutal and unforgiving, but humanity's determination only grows stronger. The final showdown takes place on the Kravok flagship, a massive, heavily armored vessel that serves as the center of their fleet. Bellamy and a small team of elite soldiers infiltrate the ship, fighting their way through tight corridors and enemy forces, determined to disable the central AI that controls the entire Kravok fleet. The flagship is a fortress, and the humans are outnumbered, but their resolve and adaptability keep them moving forward. Inside the flagship, the tension is unbearable. The human soldiers face wave after wave of Kravok drones, each encounter more intense than the last. Close quarters combat is the name of the game, with the humans using everything they have to survive. Bellamy leads the charge, his leadership and strategic mind guiding his team through the perilous corridors. They use guerrilla tactics, setting traps and using the ship's own technology against the Kravok. The Kravok, accustomed to overwhelming force, are caught off guard by the humans' relentless spirit and ingenuity. Finally, they reach the heart of the flagship, the central AI control room. Bellamy knows that destroying this AI is the only way to disable the Kravok fleet and prevent the launch of their superweapon. But in order to do so, Bellamy must make the ultimate sacrifice. The AI is protected by a failsafe, a system that will activate a self-destruct sequence if tampered with. Bellamy, with no time to waste, decides to sacrifice himself, knowing that disabling the AI will give humanity a fighting chance. With a grim smile, Bellamy initiates the sequence, sending a final message to his team: "Do it for Earth. Do it for all of us." The screen flashes with bright lights as the AI system is destroyed, and the Kravok flagship begins to fall apart, its systems collapsing in on themselves. The Kravok fleet, cut off from their central command, falls into disarray. The superweapon malfunctions and detonates prematurely, wiping out a large portion of the Kravok forces in a spectacular explosion. The final battle is a visual spectacle that leaves a lasting impression. Explosions light up the sky, sending plumes of fire and smoke across the battlefield. The camera captures the scale of the destruction, orbital bombardments raining down on the Kravok's strongholds, shattering their ships in the vacuum of space. The explosions are massive, filling the screen with bright flashes of light and intense shockwaves that ripple through the air. The camera then shifts to the ground, where human soldiers engage in brutal close-quarters combat. The sound of gunfire, clashing metal, and the cries of battle echo through the corridors of the Kravok flagship. The soldiers fight with everything they have, their faces dirty and bloody but filled with an unbreakable will. The intensity of the battle is palpable, and the camera stays close, capturing the sweat, the fear, and the determination of every soldier. Bellamy's final moments are shown in slow motion, with a sense of melancholy and finality. As the Kravok flagship explodes, Bellamy's team looks on, knowing that his sacrifice has saved humanity. The final shot lingers on the burning wreckage of the Kravok fleet, the camera zooming out to show the vastness of space, where the last remnants of the Kravok forces are scattered, defeated.